Yo, YouTube. Blizzard often releases articles with like, you know, director updates and game updates and whatnot. But this week, my job here to keep you updated with the news is that they're actually uploading a behind the scenes look at how they designed ILLARI with the hero design team. This article is called Catching Sunlight, prototyping ILLARI's abilities with the hero design team. A little BTS for those who are interested in game development, hero design development, and all the aspects and the hard work that goes behind it. Let's see what they have to say. ILLARI has taken Overwatch 2 by storm, or rather by the power of 1,000 burning suns. We're incredibly happy to see that players are enjoying her gameplay, personality, and story. To provide a little more depth and insight into how ILLARI came to be who she is today, we on the Overwatch 2 hero design team thought we'd share some of how her abilities were created through early prototypes. Heroes can be inspired by many things. Sometimes heroes are made from whatever prototypes of abilities we think are cool or have a positive impact on gameplay. Ana is a great example of this. Parts of her kit were made before her character and story ever existed. In ILLARI's case, we had a strong starting point because we knew we wanted to theme the hero around the sun. These themes inspired her early abilities as well as her internal codename Solar. So for me personally, as a content creator, I actually genuinely enjoy behind the scenes looks at workflow and how people design their flow on how they, you know, become productive and everything. I'm all about that productivity stuff, because for me, like, people ask me questions how I do process on videos. Like the video right now, this is a more hands-off on the second channel, but my main channel process, for those who are really curious about that, I actually do audio script writing, record the audio first, and then I record footage. Some people do the footage and the audio, whatever. Everybody's got a different process. So I like to see how Blizzard's doing it, just for my own curiosity. And it does seem like they kind of go with the flow. Ana had kit and ability design before character and story, but ILLARI was the opposite, where they had the theme, a lore theme of Solar first, and designed around that. Prototyping is a journey through different questions, scenarios, and ideas. The goal is test out and experiment with new things. We ask questions such as, how does this ability feel in relation to other abilities currently in the game? Is the ability making noticeable impact in a match? Are there enough options for counterplay? What does it feel like to land a hit or miss with this ability? So we'd like to offer a little insight into that journey, show you some of the prototyping that led to ILLARI. As we dive into Solar's design journey, please keep in mind that these abilities and videos were placeholders through her development. They really went bare bones in this little video. You can see they've got the, what's this called in game design, where, like, you know, it's like polygon. It's like, you know, all these grids and polygon maps. There must be a name for this. Okay, one of the earliest prototypes we played around was the blinding ability. After all, this is a hero who gets her power from the sun. So Solar would actually throw a grenade-like sun orb, or the spicy basketball in the video below, which would explode and blind enemies within its AoE. So this is the early demo. What do we have? What the? Flashbang? So they want to theme it around the sun as a support hero. So they're prototyping, obviously, an ability, and they have it on Ashe right now. But I mean, Ashe has placeholder abilities everywhere. There's the sonic sonar and like a biotic grenade on the bottom right, which is kind of funny. We often use models that are already in the game while we're working through prototyping a new ability, which is why Solar's model looks awfully familiar when she's dunking on enemies with the basketball blind. The team experimented with the physics of this ability and how it would affect enemies. After a few changes, the team added VFX of Solar jumping into the air and throwing the blind down onto her enemies. In the end, we obviously moved away from a blind ability because of the somewhat hidden effectiveness and frustration caused when playing against. Solar didn't feel a noticeable impact using blind, but the person getting blinded felt too much of an impact. We decided that a full screen blind was too much for the type of action flow we're building in Overwatch. Thank God they did not commit to this. Listen, I think flashes are fine in Counter-Strike and Valorant, and we can leave it there, but any sort of screen inhibition is so annoying. I think blinds are a little necessary in a tactical shooter, you know, like Val and Counter-Strike, to, like, you know, move on to bomb sites and whatnot, because you need that. But this is a high action flowing game. And if I'm about to snipe someone as Widow, then all of a sudden, like, I get flashed, I get freaking Hulk out from fucking Sky, or, like, you know, fucking Phoenix flipping his fingers and just flashing me. It doesn't belong in a game like this, and I'm glad they moved away from it. Let's see what the prototype looks like. Oh, that's what it was gonna look like? Look at that. Your screen would have looked like this. That would have been a little... Nah, this was not gonna be it if that was true. Frickin' Tien Shinhan or Goku solar flaring in the sun, blinding Cell, or Krillin blinding Cell so they can run with Android 18. Okay. However, the mobility of her leaping into the air felt very symbolic to a sunrise, and it ended up being integrated into her finalized ability, Captive Sun. So step 1, they're like, let's try a flashbang. Step 2, let's see what this looks like. Oh God, we don't like this. But they like the part where, like, you know, she jumps into the air and goes for it. You see how she like lifts into the air, whap, boom, and they're like, wait, let's keep the jumping part, get rid of the blind. So they evolved it into Captive Sun. Very cool. So now they prototyped the healing ability and secondary fire healing. Solar's healing capabilities went through a lot of ideations and prototypes. One of the first ideas was an ability that created pockets of healing with a deployable drone. She would throw a drone grenade to allies and the drone would hover over them to heal. Oh, they're using May's asset right now? Okay. Interesting. This is a little bit of an inside baseball. I don't think this breaks my NDA with Blizzard, but this is more just like not... This is more of a very general thing, is that in game development, just so everybody knows, when they ideate, everything is kept in mind. So like when they try different things with different abilities like flashbangs, throwing drones, this is not quoting from them, but like just they made it very clear they keep all their ideas, and who knows, certain abilities on certain things end up on different heroes at a later date. This is something they've mentioned in the past as well, where I forgot which hero they said publicly in the thing, where like, oh, this ability used to belong to this hero, but then we threw it onto someone else like later down the line. And these are already released heroes. I can't remember exactly which one it was. Genji got split into 2, or Mauga wasn't going to be in the game, but the abilities didn't fit, so then they turned it into Sigma. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's another example like that. So just keep that in mind. So like when I look at things like this, I'm gonna like, you know, try to keep this in mind. Maybe some of these end up in the game. I hope the blind doesn't end up in the game, but something like this seems kind of cool, where you throw a drone onto someone and maybe the drone follows them. And also, this is Blizzard. They can take ideas from like World of Warcraft, maybe put like totems down, like a shaman, healing totem. Or the healing totem, like from the shaman, is basically the healing pylon. But anyways, in any case, pocket healing went through a lot of tweaks and adjustments. For example, one version provided more healing to lower HP allies, but was limited in mobility. Another provided burst heal within the first second to give allies a little more flexibility regarding their placement. There was also a super fun iteration where the drones would automatically track allies. Let's see what they have here. Okay, there's no sound on this one. They put it down and the drone just starts following them. Or maybe it goes in a fixed direction. Cool. This type of healing mechanic required a ton of management and attention. We wanted something more strategic that allowed her to focus more of her time using the solar rifle. Then a eureka moment came while looking at Torb and Symmetra's turret. We tried a healing turret mechanic with Symmetra during a creator experimental card in February 2022, and while it had multiple problems on her kit as a whole, players enjoyed the concept. So hey, there you go. So a concept that they experimented in this creator card. If you guys don't remember, it was Symmetra. You put the Sim turret. Sim was a support in the for fun card, and then when you put the Sim turrets, the turrets ended up healing. So they iterated off this idea, and then boom, from this the healing artifact was born, aka the pylon. Initially a hit scan healing projectile, it evolved into what it is now in order to fulfill the combat clarity and visual goals. So initially a hit scan pylon, but now it's like a pulsating projectile that can get eaten, by the way. Where's the sound on this? Pew, pew, pew. Wow, look at the early iteration of Pylon. That's kind of cool. Okay, so Solar's secondary fire came a long way from start to finish. The first iteration was a burst heal that could pierce like Sojourn's railgun, but it was on a hefty cooldown. Now we have... Whoa! Shooting a boomerang? Bro, add this to a future support hero. That looks cool as shit. They're using Genji assets right now. Well, they mentioned earlier in the video in the article train that they use current assets to kind of as placeholders while they ideate off a concept. Before they commit onto like doing proper visual effects, they just use assets they have in the game just to see what it would like work in a you know, kind of like a game an in-game scenario. In any case, we wanted to give her a simple secondary fire to encourage players to support through damage. But the lengthy downtime made this ability feel too limiting, so we pivoted into something single target, giving it a shorter cooldown. And after testing various uptimes and cooldowns, we landed on a simple secondary that could be used often. Solar Rifle's alternate fire gives us what we're looking for, with the added benefit of pockets of healing with the pylon. So the healing beam is what they ended up with, by the way. Now, they prototyped the ultimate ability. So, there were many great prototypes for Solar's ultimate, so we'll only look at a couple of them within this blog. One of the first ideas they sought up to 5 enemies near Solar and gave them a debuff we call Solar Flares. Solar Flares would damage enemies, reveal their location, and increase their damage taken. So it deals damage, you get Sonar, Widow ultimate, and you get a permanent Discord orb on them. Okay. Oh, it seeks 5 enemies near her and marks them with Solar Flare. While this ultimate was cool to play with, it wasn't that cool to play against. The debuff paired with the damage was a little too much. The chaotic nature of the ultimate was frustrating to play against. Another iteration riffed off of the Solar Flares, but the debuff was only applied to enemies within an area of effect rather than targeting them automatically. Dude, this was an automatic targeting? That's insane. Previously, the area would also heal allies, so there was quite a bit going on within that circle. What the?
Let's give them their medicine.
They made a very simple animation of like, ah! Ugh. Many versions of her ultimate increased the amount of damage she dealt, but we felt those would better suit damage heroes. So we want to, I'm not gonna lie, the current iteration of her ultimate is very damage heavy still, but hey. We wanted to encourage players to support their team by enabling and finishing off opponents, but some of these early ideas were doing a little too much damage. We kept revisiting the status effects inspired by the sun, which kept themed to her personality in gameplay. Captive Sun status effect keeps the ultimate ability attack oriented while also encouraging team play to get as many detonations as possible. In a way, it's a damage enhancement effect with a condition and a delay. From Solar to ILLARI. So, taking a hero from the prototype to game requires a ton of collaboration and coordination across almost all of Team 4. And ideation and testing. Although many prototypes never make it out of pre-production, it's always good to keep them for key learnings. After all, you never know how these abilities may pop back up in-game, which is what I was mentioning earlier. In the end, we are pretty happy with where Solar's prototype eventually became ILLARI, the last child of the sun. Our team learned a lot from ILLARI, and it's incredible to see the community get to know her and play her in game. Thanks for sharing all your feedback and awesome gameplay. We hope you continue to have a blast with ILLARI. So, we never know what's going to pop up. Flashbang's coming. It's coming back. No, not really. Oh, God. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Peace.